So how do you actually teach your German Shepherd puppy its name? It might seem like a given when you're getting a new puppy, but when you actually stop to think about actually teaching a dog, a different breed, a different animal altogether, a human idea like having a name, it might seem that it's a little bit more of a complicated process. But don't worry, because I promise you that's exactly what I'm going to help you with in today's video. Welcome back to the Fenrir German Shepherd Show. If this is your first time here, my name's Will. I'm a canine behaviourist and I'm the founder and CEO here at FenrirCanineLeaders.com. And I also created the Perfect Puppy program that has helped thousands of people be able to raise perfect canine companions and get it right from day one so that they never need to seek professional help from a canine behaviourist like myself in the future, because I always talk about how important it is to get things right the first time round. Now, this channel is dedicated to helping you learn everything that you could ever want to know about German Shepherds and then how to raise perfect German Shepherd companions. And like I say, get it right first time round. So if you are new here, I definitely think it's worth hitting that subscribe button and turning on the notification bell, because I promise you there's something for you. But with all that said and done, let's dive into today's video. And we're going to be talking about how to teach your German Shepherd puppy its name. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, it's actually a bit more of a complicated process than people might believe when they first think about getting their dog, especially their first dog. And what we have to understand is that a dog does not and will never have any kind of comprehension that it has a name, let alone in our language, whatever language that is. Dogs do not and cannot understand that they have a name, not the way that we do. If we're communicating with other humans, we can refer to their dog by their name, and that helps us talk about the dog. However, when we're having our relationship with our dog and that relationship with our German Shepherd, that name is nothing more than a command. The same way sit is a command for asking them to put their bum on the floor, or the same way heel might be a command to ask them to come and walk nicely on our left hand side. Their name is nothing more than a command. So if it's a command, what do we want from them in return? Well, what we want is for them to stop what they're doing and look up to us for guidance and direction. If you picture how you actually have a relationship with your dog and the way that you communicate with them, when we're using their name, it is 99 times out of 100 because we want them to do something or to stop doing something. So we'll use their name followed by the second follow-up command.
Hey guys, very quickly, in case you didn't know, we have our Perfect Puppy program. It's the program that I designed myself as a canine behaviorist to help you guys become a high-level canine leader yourself, and then how to be able to take your puppy from the second you bring it home all the way through to that dream of the perfect canine companion that you've always wanted. So if you want more information on that, there'll be a link down in the description box below. Thousands of people have now gone through that process to extremely high levels of success. So there's some testimonials you can go and check out. More information, it's all in the description box below, but let's get back into the video you were just watching.
So let's have a magical German Shepherd called Fenrir. So we might say, Fenrir, sit. Fenrir, stay. Fenrir, no. We're always trying to get their attention with their name, and then we're going to ask them to do something or to stop doing something, or just have that communication pathway that we've built through our obedience training with our dogs. That's the way we communicate with our dogs, and that's an excellent channel of communication. But the principle is that we need to help teach them their name, and we need to teach it in the right way so that they understand that their name isn't just a name. What it means is that I want you this noise. They have zero concept. You've got to understand that. They have no comprehension that we are talking words, that this is a language. To them, this is nothing more than a weird noise that comes out of our mouth. We need to get them to understand that that weird noise that forms their name means look up to me because I'm about to ask you to do something else. That's all it means. That is what a dog's name means to a dog. And when we're working with our dogs, we have to be able to see things from their point of view, not our point of view. We're working with dogs here. We're not training humans, we're training dogs. So that's really important. So going into the process with that understanding, I promise you're already miles ahead than the vast majority of owners that don't have that comprehension. And that is the early stages of a breakdown in relationship with their dogs, which then devolves into a wide variety of different behavior problems, which is where those owners then come to me as a canine behaviorist, needing my help to fix those issues. You're not going to make that mistake because you're going to get this process right the first time round. So now you understand that concept and that principle, excellent. But then Well, what next? How do you actually teach a dog that when I say this word that is their name, I want you to look up to me for guidance and direction? Well, brilliant. It's actually quite a simple process. All we're going to do is, like most training principles and obedience principles in terms of teaching a trick, we're going to use a lure, mark, and reinforce based principle. The same way we might lure a dog to sit down, and then we mark it with sit, and then we give them the food and praise when they do the desired behavior, and we repeat and we repeat. We do the same thing with name. The way we do that is we get a bit of food reward. It can be a bit of dry food, it can be something a bit fancier. It really doesn't matter. We get the dog's attention, so they're following the lure in our hand, and then we bring that lure right up to our nose. We don't want to cover our eyes because we want to be able to have that eye contact with the puppy. And when they look up, even though right now they're following the food, don't worry about that yet, we're going to move on to that later. But when we get them looking up and looking up at us, even though they're looking at the food, that's the foundation stages. So that when we get that, our imaginary German Shepherd called Fenrir, we're going to mark that with Fenrir. Yes, good Fenrir. And we give them access to the food, lots of nice vocal inflection in terms of a nice lovely praise marker. We give them a bit of fuss, we get another bit of food, we do the same thing. We get their attention, we bring it up. When the dog follows it up and looks up at us, we mark it with their name, and then we give them access to the food and lots of praise. Brilliant, dead simple, that's the foundation. But what we want to do is then start to remove that lure, same way we do with all other kind of behaviours. We don't want to have a 4-year-old German Shepherd that we're having to lure into a sit with food every time. The same principle, we need to remove the lure. So what we do is we slowly, rather than bringing it right up to our nose, we'll start to bring it up slowly. And the dog will naturally follow the lure. And this is where the finesse and timing of this comes in. Now, if you're building that relationship that we preach about in our Perfect Puppy program, which is the foundation of everything builds up on top of that relationship of you being a calm, consistent leader, having the dog that looks up to you for guidance and direction. That is the essence of what we teach in our Perfect Puppy program and everything we do here at Fenrir. And then we build on top of that relationship. If you have that relationship, you're going to have a dog that is more inclined to look up to you for guidance and direction. So this process will be dead simple. So we've got the lure, and the dog's used to following that lure, and eventually you blurting out this word that is their name, and then they get access to the food. But when we stop bringing it away from our nose, they're going to still, and I'm going to try and demonstrate it through the camera for you here, they're going to go from looking at the food, and we need to get that moment where they're looking at the food down here to looking up to us and then getting that eye contact. That eye contact is critical. Now, with a German Shepherd, this usually happens very quickly, especially one that has a good relationship with its owner, because they'll go, I'm confused, what is it you want? And when they get that, I'm confused, what's happening? And we get that look up, then we mark it with their name, same principle, mark, reinforce. You do that a couple of times and the dog will quickly start to realize, oh, okay, when I look up, that's when the food happens. That's when the praise happens. It's not necessarily just looking at this thing. I actually need to look up before I get access to this thing. We repeat that. We drill it over and over again. We slowly remove the lure. We usually, with a German Shepherd, within a couple of weeks, very young puppy, we can use their name and they'll look up to us for guidance and direction. Then we can then start to layer up the other different commands and the other different communication streams that we have with our German Shepherd. The principle's quite simple, and the same with everything with training our new puppies. To get it right the first time round, we want to put in the effort, pile in that effort up front, pour that effort in up front, and I promise you, you will reap the rewards for months and years to come, rather than having to wait until there's a problem and then spending a fortune on a canine behaviourist and go through a long, lengthy process of a behaviour modification program, which can be quite distressing to a lot of owners and dogs. Even though that's our bread and butter, it's what I do as a canine behaviourist. I love dogs and I don't like seeing them in those negative situations. I would much rather help you guys get it right first time round. So I really encourage you to grab the bull by the horns, dive into the process. If you need help with it, that is what our Perfect Puppy program's for. There's a link down in the description box below. There's loads of testimonials over there of people that have gone through that process, and you can read about the incredible success that they've had by doing that, putting in that effort up front, becoming a high-level canine leader, and being able to have that perfect German Shepherd companion. So I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. It does help the channel. Subscribe if you're new here. Turn on that little notification bell thingy dingy ding dong thing. It'll let you know when we upload more videos. And if you love German Shepherd videos, we've got 2 come into this channel every single week. So I really do think it'll be just the channel for you. So thank you again. I can't wait to see you on the next episode of the Fenrir German Shepherd Show.